Hello everyone, and welcome to Hopeful Moments 1. Today, we will hear a story about harassment and misunderstanding towards blind individuals, particularly the challenges they face when using guide dogs in public places. Today's story will take you through a surprising situation, how an entitled mother, escalated a small argument into physical aggression, and how the lack of responsibility from the first security guard, SG1, left the author to defend themselves in an unnecessarily tense situation. If you find this story interesting and full of meaningful lessons, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more valuable insights. You know, it's truly unfortunate that situations like this happen so frequently. As a blind woman, I face uncomfortable situations due to people's ignorance almost every day. But what's even more striking is the behavior of certain parents who think they are always right. For me, they've reached a certain level of infamy. My experiences with them are not only unpleasant but also leave a lasting impression due to their arrogance and absurdity. And this is one such story, which happened recently. So, I thought, why not share it to soothe myself and also help everyone understand more about the difficulties we blind people face. Laughing face. The key people involved, me, the main character in the story, sharing my direct experience. The entitled mother, the person who instigates all the trouble in the story. Security Guard 1, SG1, the initial security guard who acts unprofessionally and escalates the tension. Security Guard 2, SG2, the second security guard, who handles the situation properly and helps me get out of trouble. Since my parents are at high risk due to COVID-19, I've had to do my shopping alone much more often since the pandemic started. It's not an easy experience, especially for a blind person. Grocery shopping is far more complicated for me than it is for others. I need supermarket staff to assist with picking out items and guiding me through the store. Alongside me, I always have my trusty guide dog, Gumbo. But ironically, it's the presence of this dog, my eyes, that often brings me even more unwarranted trouble. The prying stares, the ignorant comments, or even the unreasonable requests from strangers seem to happen more often simply because Gumbo is with me. Today's story is a perfect example of what I face, and it has left me with mixed emotions. During my shopping, I often get various reactions from people about my guide dog, Gumbo. For a blind person, this dog is not just a companion but an essential support tool in daily life. However, for outsiders, seeing a dog working often sparks curiosity, excitement, or even discomfort. These reactions range from surprised glances, friendly questions, to complaints or unpleasant attitudes. But one particular incident happened towards the end of my shopping that stuck with me. I heard hurried footsteps approaching, followed by an excited shout, "That dog is so cute. Can I pet it?" The voice was clearly that of a child. Upon hearing that, I immediately prepared myself to explain. I'm used to repeating that Gumbo is a guide dog and cannot be petted while working. I calmly told the child, "This dog can't be petted because he's working, he's my guide dog." What surprised me was the child's reaction. Instead of being disappointed or demanding, the child seemed very curious and excited to learn that a dog could have a job. The girl, I think it was a girl, not only accepted the explanation happily but also asked a few simple, adorable questions about Gumbo's work. After that, she waved goodbye and left with her mom. I felt relieved because the situation turned out quite positively, and I continued my shopping. While not everyone reacts politely, these positive moments always motivate me to face daily challenges. When I finished my shopping, I decided to stop by the food court for a late lunch before heading home. I ordered my food, found a quiet seat, and waited comfortably. But as if bad luck was waiting for me, right at that moment, I heard familiar footsteps again. The same child and her mother unexpectedly passed by my table. I didn't expect to see them again, but things didn't go as smoothly as I hoped. This is when the nightmare started, and what happened left me both shocked and frustrated, creating an unforgettable impression. I heard the girl excitedly telling her mother about what I had explained, that my dog was a guide dog, that I was blind, and that I relied on Gumbo to help me move around. The girl's tone was full of wonder and delight, as if she had just discovered something magical. However, the mother's reaction was completely different. She didn't say much, but through her heavy tone and fragmented words, I could clearly sense her irritation. A vague feeling of anxiety started to rise in me, but I tried to stay calm and keep listening. After the girl finished speaking, the mother quickly approached me. At first, I didn't think much of it. Strangers approaching me is a common occurrence, especially when I'm with Gumbo. Some people are curious about guide dogs, some are polite, and of course, there are others who aren't so friendly. But in an instant, the first question she asked took me by surprise. "Why did you tell my daughter that you're blind?" Her tone was sharp, full of accusation. Upon hearing that, I immediately realized what was coming. It wasn't the first time I had faced people who doubted my condition, but the directness and hostility of this woman still caught me off guard. As she stood in front of me, her gaze perhaps scrutinizing and waiting for an explanation, I felt the tension building. However, as a habit to protect myself from awkward situations, I tried to maintain a polite demeanor. I forced a light smile, both to ease the situation and to hide the discomfort rising inside me. The mother's response was not only confrontational but also reflected ignorance. Her question wasn't just curiosity, it implied that I had lied or done something wrong when sharing my condition with the child. This not only offended me but also made me feel disappointed by how some people lack empathy for those with disabilities. Still, I was ready to face this uncomfortable conversation. I understood that not everyone fully grasps the life of a blind person, and sometimes situations like this were an opportunity for me to share and educate others, as long as they were willing to listen. But this time, I had a feeling the conversation wouldn't go smoothly. Because I am blind. Your daughter asked me about my dog, so I explained about guide dogs and why we use them. Entitled Mother, you're not blind. Sorry, what did you say? Her blunt words caught me by surprise. You're not blind. My cousin is blind, so I know what blind people are like. You shouldn't lie about that. I think you should let my daughter pet the dog, she loves dogs. Refusing a child like that is selfish. I started feeling uncomfortable. Ma'am, not all blind people are the same. Just because you know one blind person doesn't mean you understand all blind people. And as I explained, your daughter cannot pet my dog because he is a guide dog. Why are you lying? Your eyes are perfectly normal. You're using a phone. Don't say you're blind when you're proving the opposite. Why are you lying about this? Sorry, but I'm not lying. The fact that my eyes look normal has nothing to do with it. Not every blind person's eyes are the same. You're making me anxious. I'd appreciate it if you leave me alone. My daughter wants to pet your dog. She's been so well behaved all day, and letting her pet the dog is totally reasonable. I already said no. I don't understand why you can't accept my answer. You're saying no with that ridiculous excuse. You're really making me angry. I don't know who you think you are, but I work for, I don't remember what she said, and if you don't stop, I'll call security to throw you and this fake dog out of here. I'm sure you can imagine the situation. This argument went on for about 5 minutes, with her getting increasingly angry because I wouldn't let her daughter pet my dog. Her daughter stayed completely silent the whole time. I didn't think she cared that much. However, was a different story. Finally, she shouted, that's enough. I'll call security. If you're smart, you'll leave before I get back, or you'll regret it. I smirked at her tantrum and heard her storming off. My food had just arrived, so I started eating. I didn't really believe she would call security, but with people like her, you can never be too sure. About 5 minutes later, as I was enjoying my fries and browsing Reddit, of course, she came back. I heard her heavy footsteps from about 5 meters away. She was shouting at a security guard. That's her. She's sitting there with a dog. She says it's a guide dog, but she's not blind. You need to kick her out, dogs aren't allowed here. I sighed, took off one earbud, and prepared for the commotion ahead. A deep male voice came from a few steps in front of me. He sounded quite annoyed. Security guard 1, SG1 Excuse me, is this a service dog? Yes, that's right. This is a guide dog. I am allowed to bring him here. I have a copy of the relevant law if you need it. SG1, no need for that. I know service dogs are allowed. This woman says you're not disabled. Is that true? No. She's just upset because I wouldn't let her daughter pet my dog. I honestly don't understand why she's so concerned. Because you're a liar. I told you, my cousin is blind. Don't try to say I don't understand blind people, because I do. I turned to the security guard. I tried explaining to her that one blind person doesn't represent all blind people, but she refuses to understand. Can you please ask her to leave me alone? I just want to eat in peace. SG1, so, you are blind, right? Yes, that's correct. SG1, do you have any way to prove that? No, how can I prove it? And why should I? SG1, she's saying one thing, and you're saying another. I'm not sure who to believe. But it is hard to prove blindness. Turning to so why do you think she's lying? Are you serious? Don't you get it? Look at her eyes. Her eyes aren't white or cloudy like blind people's eyes. She's looking at that phone. SG1 turned back to me. SG1, what do you say about that? Maybe her cousin has those symptoms, but not all blind people do. Those symptoms are often caused by conditions like cataracts, which I don't have. As for the phone, assistive technology for blind people has been around for many years. I'm surprised she has a blind cousin and doesn't know that. No. I saw her look at the phone. She's looking at it. I can only perceive basic light. I can sense light. I look at it out of habit because my hands are occupied. Look, it's not my job to educate you about what you don't know. Turning to the security guard, please, just ask her to leave me alone. I don't care whether she believes me or not, you don't need to mediate here. I just want her to stop bothering me and let me eat in peace. I'm feeling harassed. SG1, yeah, I understand. It's just that, I can't be sure you're blind, so maybe she has a valid reason. What? Does that apply to all blind people? How can anyone prove that? If she has no reason to claim I'm lying, then can't you give me the benefit of the doubt? SG1, I don't know, she says her cousin is blind, so she might know something. I paused for a moment. Wow. I'm done arguing. Listen, if you're not going to ask her to stay away from me, then I'm leaving. Thanks for not protecting a disabled customer. I stood up, and my dog stood up too to guide me. I took a few steps, and suddenly, I felt someone grab the leash handle tightly and pull me back. Wait. I told you I want you to let my daughter pet your dog. Then you can leave. No. Let go of my leash. Let go. Understand that grabbing my leash is like someone taking away your eyes. She was obstructing how I move. So, I panicked. This had only happened to me once before, I've shared it in another post, and I was just as scared that time. I struggled to pull the leash handle back while shouting, "Let go! Let go! Help!" Meanwhile, she was shouting in my ear. I couldn't really hear her clearly because I was too busy yelling, but I guess it had something to do with her daughter. The security guard was fumbling around uselessly. Finally, another security guard ran over. I heard him shout loudly. SG2, what's going on here? She's pulling my guide dog. Help me. She won't let go. No. She has to let my daughter pet her dog. Tell him that. I guess she pointed at the security guard. The guard didn't respond, but from the way the conversation was going, it seemed like he signaled disagreement with what she said. SG2, ma'am, let go of her dog right now. If not, I'll escort you out. No. She's not blind. This dog isn't a real dog. Don't jump in and think you know what's going on. I had calmed down a bit, enough to speak more clearly. Please get her off me. I want to leave here. I don't feel safe. Let me leave. SG2, you're fine, everything will be okay. When the woman was finally forced to let go of my leash, a strange sense of freedom rushed over me. But immediately, I could feel the tension in the air. Not only was I freed from her grip, but I also felt like I had to get away from this situation as quickly as possible. As soon as I could, I commanded my guide dog, Gumbo, to start guiding me out of this area. My head was spinning, and a chaotic feeling enveloped me, but one thing I knew for sure was that I needed to get out of there right away. The tension still lingered in me as I heard the woman's loud shouting from behind. I couldn't see her, but her screams echoed like a sonic wave filled with anger and sarcasm. Meanwhile, the man from behind shouted sternly, "Calm down. Stop yelling." His shout was an attempt to calm the situation, but to me, it only made the chaos I was facing even clearer. At that moment, I was still quite frightened, but my guide dog, with its calmness and patience that had been trained into it, helped me stay composed. Though I felt a slight fear, I was able to calm myself and continue walking quickly toward the exit. I couldn't let myself slow down or be distracted by those shouts. It felt like I was escaping an uneven fight, but at the same time, I was fully aware of the need to distance myself from her in this dangerous situation. In the chaos, I almost forgot something important, my bag, which I had left at the customer service desk. This situation reflected one of the difficulties I often face, the need to protect my belongings when in public places. Not wanting to leave my bag in the dining area, a place prone to theft, I had placed it at the customer service desk, but in my panic, I almost forgot to retrieve it. The anxiety had made it hard for me to pay attention to small details, even though they were just as important in this situation. When I finally left that area, the feeling of anxiety clung to me throughout the journey home. I called a taxi, feeling relieved to be heading home, but the incident continued to haunt me. The fear and insecurity kept resurfacing in my mind over the following days. This made me realize a sad truth: situations like this, public harassment and the ignorance of others, happen almost every day to blind people. This is not an exception but a part of the life we face continuously. What saddened and upset me the most was the physical assault I had endured from this woman. Just because I wouldn't allow her daughter to pet my guide dog, she not only challenged my decision but also crossed the line of respect and went further with physical actions. This is unacceptable, and although I could have called the police and requested her arrest, in that moment, the panic made me just want to escape the situation as quickly as possible, rather than face it head-on. This story, though a painful experience, is an opportunity for me to share and raise awareness about what we, blind people, go through every day. It's important for people to have a better understanding of the challenges we face and realize that not everything we do is easy or can be judged lightly. And if you witness a similar situation, don't hesitate to intervene. Protecting a vulnerable person in society is incredibly important. If it hadn't been for the second security guard's intervention, my situation could have gotten much worse. In the end, I can't help but feel a bit disappointed when thinking about how I couldn't finish my meal, the delicious fries I had been waiting for all day. But anyway, I hope that my story can help raise awareness and encourage people to take action to create a better world for everyone. Through this story, I've realized that the life of blind people is not just a journey of overcoming physical challenges but also a constant battle against ignorance and lack of empathy from those around us. Harassment, scrutinizing glances, or disrespectful actions can appear at any time, and this forces us to always stay alert, both to protect ourselves and to defend our rights. The lesson to be learned from this story is the importance of maintaining calm and patience in stressful situations. While panic may be inevitable when facing such circumstances, staying calm will help us deal with the situation more rationally, while also upholding our rights without being overwhelmed by others' unreasonable resistance. Keep defending your rights strongly and decisively because you deserve to be respected and treated fairly. Even though in the moment, panic may make you want to escape the situation quickly, remember that you have the right to speak out and demand fairness when your rights are violated. Don't hesitate to ask for support from those around you and from authorities if necessary. Also, continue sharing your story to help raise societal awareness of the issues blind people face every day. Small actions from everyone can create significant change in the community, and you are setting an example for defending the basic rights of yourself and others in similar situations.